Hi everyone, this is Heather Smith with Storyville Photography, and today I'm going to show you how to achieve this edit of my children. You guys, they thought they were so fabulous in these coats. Like, it was so cute and so funny. They thought they were like these royal princesses. And what better way to stay warm and be fashionable at the same time, right? Okay, so this is where we're going to end, and this is where we are going to get started. So, the finished product and right now. So the first thing I want to do is make a copy of the background layer, Command J, and I want to get rid of this white area. It kind of pulls attention away from my subject, so I'm going to just grab the patch tool right here, and I'm going to circle that, and I'm just going to sample another area right there, and voila, that white blob is gone. Okay, and the next thing I want to do is give them a little bit more body in their hair, maybe poof out the dress a teeny bit. So to do that, it's really easy, guys. Go to Filter in the Liquify, and I'm going to choose the Forward Warp tool. You can play around with the brush size, the pressure, or the density. I tend to leave my pressure about 65 and the density at 50. And then depending on what I need, I can use the bracket keys to adjust my brush size up or down. So I'm just going to pull up a little bit and give Homegirl a little bit of body in her hair. So who doesn't like a little fluff to their hair? There we go. And then I'm going to just kind of take the edge of her dress. And as you can see, as I'm pulling her dress, the surrounding area is looking a little bit wonky. But I will show you how to fix that as soon as we get out. Don't worry about that, guys. And maybe curve up here just a teeny bit. Okay, and that looks good to me. So this is the before with the blob and flat hair, and then after. I try not to go too crazy with the fluffing, but I don't know. Sometimes bigger is better. Add a layer mask. Grab a soft black brush if you want to get rid of some weird areas after using the Liquify tool. And voila, that is gone. It's like magic. If I were to have plumped up their hair a ton and it made their face features spread out or whatever you might say, you would just run that over there too and it would normalize. So there we go. That looks good to me. So I am going to go to Layer and Flatten. And the next thing I want to do is run the Smoothing and Sharpening action. I just love this action. I play them on all of my images. You can leave it at 100% or you can play with the opacity and decrease it as much as you want. For here, I'm going to go at like 32%. Click that, and then I'm going to do the sharpening. Hit play. And I'm going to do about the same, around like 32%. Oops. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to flatten that, layer, flatten image. And the next thing I want to do is add the Simplicity preset, and I'm going to actually just use the Camera Raw filter for that. So if you want to use any of the Storyville presets in Camera Raw, just copy the background layer, Command J, go up to Filter, Camera Raw. Let me shrink this down so you guys can see this. Okay. That looks good. I'm going to go into the preset panel and I'm going to choose Simplicity preset number 2. Hit OK. You can go into the main Camera Raw settings and play around with the filter. It's not always a one-click preset deal. More times than not, you are going to have to make adjustments, and I make adjustments all the time. For this, it just kind of worked out perfectly here. Although I could have maybe lowered the exposure a little bit as he's kind of blown out there. I might just add a layer mask, soft black brush, and run over it at a lower opacity. And that looks good. Maybe a little on her coat. So anytime you use the preset in Camera Raw, you can add a mask and you can brush off a little bit of the preset or all the preset in certain areas. It really just depends on what you want. So before and after. Now I'm going to flatten that And I want to run the Twisted Matte. This is part of the Dreamy Matte action pack. I get asked this question all the time. This Dreamy Matte comes with 3 different actions, and Twisted Matte being one of them. So you will not find just this on the website. You have to look for the Dreamy Matte. Click Twisted Matte and hit play. It's going to come on strong. You guys are going to be scared, but I like things to come on strong so you can make adjustments and kind of see where everything is at and make it your own. So I'm going to click on the Twisted Matte base. I typically keep this around anywhere between like 20 and like 34%. You don't want to get it too crazy where it actively looks like you did something. You kind of just want a tunnel vision that could have been shot straight out of camera, and you will leave people wondering like, whoa, what is that? That's pretty cool. If you keep it on too high, it's just going to look kind of tacky. So I'm going to click on the base, soft black brush, at 100% opacity. Make sure it's at 100% opacity and flow. You don't want any of this to stay on your subjects. And then I'm just going to brush it off of them. And then I don't want the matte on in this case, and I don't want the color dazzle on. Contrast, we might be able to lower this a little bit. Okay, we'll keep it probably around 24%. And the focus subject, there we go. And I'm going to also make sure this is not on any of my subjects. For the highlights, we're going to turn this down quite a bit. Maybe just increase it a smidge there. There we go. And that looks good to me. So fun, guys. You see how you kind of have that circular look to the image without it being too heavy and like wonky. That is what you want. That is the look you're going for on this with this action. Okay, and now what I want to do is go into the ultimate dodge and burn. This is also one of my favorite actions, and I've been using it a ton lately, ever since I created it actually. I'm going to go to the dodge and burn combo in the clothing. I kind of went through that really fast. So it's going to come in one group. Guys, make sure that you open it. I added a layer mask to the whole group in case you want to mask the entire action off certain areas, or if you want to like lower the opacity and everything. That's why they're grouped together, but you have to open this up and you'll see other little groupings that you will open up and use. And you will want to paint these on with a soft black brush, 100% opacity and flow. So for the dodge and burn combo, it dodges and burns all at once, and it's pretty amazing. I just love it. Since I have 3 subjects, I normally like to make a duplicate of this this layer, so I have one for each of my subjects. And I noticed in this case, I'm going to have to also make an extra one for their coats because it doesn't look, I can't put it on as heavy as I like to on their dresses. So for that, I'm going to need 5 layers. So Command J, 3, 4, and there we go with the foot. So I'll start over here with Kendallin. She's got this beautiful dress. Guys, I got their coats and their dresses from Joyfully. It's really fun clothing boutique, and I get that question a lot, so there you go. So soft white brush, 100% opacity. You can paint that on just like I am. And as you can see, it's pretty subtle there, but I'm going to increase the opacity a decent amount. There we go. And I also want to add a little bit of the extra dodge onto the bottom here. You can also duplicate this if it doesn't brighten it up as much as you would want. Just Command J. You can duplicate any of these layers. I'm going to run this over her headband too. There we go. Now I'm going to move on to my sun here. Increase that. I love like the metallic feel it gives. Over his shoes. Okay. And a little bit on his hat. There we go. Now I'm going to move over to my... Oh, we didn't get her coat, so we're going to go over her coat with the dodge and burn combo. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to move on to my other daughter, Savannah here. We'll do her coat first so I don't forget like I did last time. Okay, and then a little bit on her dress. I'm not going to go over the dark spot because if it's really dark, it tends to just darken it even more. It doesn't burn as much. Or dodge, I mean. And then I'll take this extra dodge and run it over the darker spots. And a little bit on her headband, just to brighten it up. Okay, so that's the before and after of that. And now I'm going to go into the dodge 1 for the skin and hair. Their skin's already bright enough, so I'm not going to worry about that, but I do want to just brighten the hair a little bit. Maybe a little on her neck. I'm going to brush a little bit of that off though, so I'm lowering the opacity of the brush. And there we go. And that looks good to me. And might want to do a little bit of dodging and burning to the environment, but I'm going to keep it really subtle, so I'm going to turn it way down after. As you can see, it kind of blows some things out, and it was already a little bit bright. So we're just going to leave that at about 30%. Make sure it didn't get on her coat at all. Okay, so that's the before and after with the dodge and burn. And now I want to go into the retouch. And I'm going to go for the rosy cheeks. And for this, I want to use the Radiant Red on all 3 of them. Well, yeah, because of her lips there. I was going to say you can't really see her cheek much, but you can see her lips. So I'm going to duplicate that twice, so I have 3 different layers. And scroll up there. You're going to want to change that to a soft white brush and just make her look like a clown, and then lower the opacity to your liking, add a little to her lips. There we go. Now I'm going to move on to my son. I'm going to hit the Radiant Red copy, rosy up his cheeks. And then just go over his lips ever so slightly. Okay. Now, last but not least, my oldest baby. And I'm going to turn that down a little. I'll probably have to turn it down more too. There we go. Okay. Am I missing anything from there? I think that's all I really need from that pack right now. Oh, I need to brighten up their hands a little bit. So I'm going to hit the brighten skin and hands, or skin and eyes. Skin is part of their hands. Soft white brush, 100% opacity. Just going to kind of run that over there. There we go. And their hands are a little bit red, so I'm going to go into the skin color correction, hit play, continue, and reduce red. It's going to come off gray, but that's so you can kind of see where you're painting, and then you can lower the opacity. Okay. Now, as I kind of stare at this, my son is just way too bright. So I'm going to go back into the Storyville Ultimate Dodge and Burn, and I'm going to select the skin and hair and choose Burn 1, soft white brush, 100% opacity, and just kind of tone him down a smidge. What a difference. Okay. So we're good on that. We can always come back to any of these if we need to. So the next thing I want to do is grab a sun overlay. So I'm grabbing the Storyville Sun 1 overlay. You can find this in the Ultimate Light Pack. And I'm just gonna, you can either drag and drop, but for those of you that can't do it, I have a Mac. So anybody that has a Mac can. I'm not sure about a PC. You might be able to, I'm just not sure. So select it, copy it, and paste it. And then you're going to want to set it to screen mode. Command T will free transform it. And then I'm going to just stretch it out a little bit. There we go. And then you're either going to want to take a mask and brush off like the hard line that you can see from the edge of this, or an easy way to get rid of that is to just go to the blur, so filter blur, Gaussian blur, and blur it at about, I don't know, 40%, and that will get rid of that. And then I'm going to add a layer mask, soft black brush at 100% opacity, or if you wanted to leave a little bit of the light on their skin, you could also just do it about 50 or whatever you choose. And I'm going to just brush this off of them. Now, if you're going to print or anything, I would get in close because you don't want a halo. It will just make your whole image look terrible. It really will. You can work so hard on an image, and a halo will just make it look awful. Like, this is a halo, guys. You don't, I mean, that's really extreme, but you just don't want a halo. No halos, no thank you. See? Halo. Right up there. We'll take care of that. Okay. Go back with a soft white brush and get rid of those. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I would if I were you guys. So this is the before and the after, and now I want to add a snow overlay. So I'm going to grab the Storyville Snow overlay number 2, select it, copy it, paste it, screen mode. That's the before and after, and I think I want to duplicate that to make it even more intense, so Command J, and that looks good to me. I'm going to group those together, add a layer mask, and make sure that it is off of my subject space. Now the last thing I want to do is run our newest action that you can find in the Storyville shop. It's called Muted. And it is going to just bring down these tones and make it look more wintry, and you can actually use this on other images too. Doesn't have to necessarily be for a winter look. I just liked how it looked here. So because we've already added some contrast and brightened this image up in a couple different actions, I'm going to turn these off. Just click the eyes. And I am going to keep this muted base 1 on, and you can increase it as much as you like. And that about there looks good to me. And same with muted 2. I'm going to just turn that up a little bit. And then focus subject. I'll just keep that on ever so slightly. And how fun is this action, guys? It went from like almost a summery image with snow to really fitting the scene. And you guys can always make little adjustments here and there if you wanted to change, like maybe this, darken that up a little bit. You can just grab like a curves adjustment layer, bring it over here, hold down on the midtones, and then I am going to take I'm going to invert it, Command I, so I can paint just where I want the midtones to be darkened. So soft white brush, 100% opacity. Boom. Now I think the only thing else I would do here is bring the snow to the top. Voila! With or without the snow. I even like it without the snow. With the snow, though, because that's what we're going for, Christmassy, right? Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I know this is a little bit longer than what we're used to doing. There was just kind of a lot of steps that went into this edit, but you can find everything I used here at www.storyvillephotography.com. Oh, again, we wanted to have the before. You got to do a before and after. So that is where we got started, guys. And there we are. I hope you have a good day. Bye.